When did being a man become something we had to apologize for? Masculinity isn't toxic. It's misunderstood, it's ignored, and it's absent where it's needed the most, which is in the home. And if your marriage feels flat and disconnected, it may be because your leadership left the room. So today we're going to be talking about how to bring it back and how to gain your wife's respect and gain her desire again. Welcome to the Dad Nation podcast, the place where high-performing men are empowered to reclaim their home, their health, and their happiness while enhancing their career success. You see, in a world full of noise, burnout, and mediocrity, we believe what's missing is courageous and compassionate leadership in the home, because when the dad gets better, the whole family wins. You see, this isn't just a podcast. It's a movement of men who refuse to settle for less in our families, our focus, and our future. We are curse breakers and we are legacy makers. And I'm your host, Mitchell Osmond, and I'm honored that you have chosen to invest your most valuable asset, which is your time with me today. Now let's get into it. All right, so I opened up this episode with that question: when did being a man become something we had to apologize for? You see, in today's culture, masculinity gets labeled as toxic all the time. Strength gets dismissed as dominance. And leadership in the home, well, too often it's misunderstood, it's mocked, and it's outright rejected. But yet here's the paradox. We've never needed strong men more than we do right now. Now, we don't need domineering men, not emotionally distant men, not passive-aggressive or hyper-controlling men, but grounded, present, purposeful, masculine men. Men who lead with conviction. Men who know who they are and live that way in every room that they enter. Let me share some sobering statistics that will be great to set us up for this episode. In the U.S. today, 1 in 4 kids will grow up without a father in the home, and the consequences are devastating. Let me read you some statistics here. 63% of youth suicides come from fatherless homes. 90% of homeless and runaway children come from fatherless homes. 85% of children with behavioral disorders come from fatherless homes. And this one is crazy. 71% of high school dropouts come from fatherless homes. Now, that's not political. That's not an opinion. That's data. And that should be a wake-up call. And it tells us one thing very clearly, that fathers matter, that masculine leadership matters. And yet look around. We're facing a masculinity crisis. I don't care if nobody's saying it, I'm going to say it. In the U.S. today, over 7 million working-age men are no longer in the workforce. They're disengaged, they're numbed by addictions, stuck in isolation. The average man today spends approximately 2,000 hours per year in front of a screen, escaping his life rather than engaging in it. And I think that's like, 85 days or something like that? And since 1995, the number of men with zero close friends has jumped from 3% to 15%. When you think about how many people that is astronomical, okay? Listen, men are silent. They're lonely. They're disconnected. And that's not just hurting them. It's hurting their families. And that's entirely why I created the Dad Nation in the first place. I was struggling. I was struggling in silence. I thought I was alone. And I had no idea the things that I was struggling with were the same thing that millions of men struggle with. So I built this movement to change the trajectory, not just for you, but for your marriage, for your kids, for your family. Because this movement isn't just about helping men. It's about what happens when a man gets healthy, whole, and grounded in who he is. Because when the dad gets better, the whole family wins. You'll hear me say that in every single episode. So today's episode is going to be raw and real, okay? It's for every man who's killing it in business but feels powerless at home. For every man who feels disrespected by his wife but doesn't know how to win her heart back again. For every man who wants to lead but feels like he's lost the map. Today we're going to talk about what happens when masculinity gets muted. We're going to talk about why your wife may have stopped respecting you or even desiring you. And we're going to talk about the 3 steps to reclaim your masculine strength, your leadership, and your connection. And for the record, just off the get-go here, I have made every single one of these mistakes in my marriage, so I'm not preaching at you, okay? This passion you hear is because I've been there and I'm walking with you in it. Does that make sense? So let's jump into it. The first step is learning how to recognize when your wife has become your mom. Okay, let's be honest. At work, you're the man, right? You make the calls, you set the direction, you drive the vision. But when you come home, you feel like a ghost, invisible, disconnected, or maybe like you're walking on eggshells or get treated like one of the kids. It's not just frustrating, it's really confusing, right? So you see, no one's trained you for moments like this. For the moment she starts making all the decisions, not because she wants to, but because she has to. No one trains you for the moment when your wife stops respecting you. But this is what happens when the roles get reversed and masculinity gets muted. And here's the pattern I've seen in so many coaching calls with my clients, with higher performing men. When a man checks out, the woman steps in. And not just in the parenting, she starts to carry the mental and emotional load. She becomes the driver of the household. She becomes the initiator, the scheduler, the default decision maker. And over time, that dynamic changes the entire feel of the relationship. You see, she's no longer treating you like a partner. She's treating you like a project. Not because she wants to dominate you, but because she doesn't feel safe not to. So let me be clear. This isn't about control. This isn't about power. This is about polarity. Right? And polarity is the magnetic tension between the masculine and feminine energy. It's the dynamic that fuels desire, intimacy, and connection. And passivity, that actually kills polarity. And when you stop leading, when you defer constantly, when you go with the flow just to avoid conflict, you're not being chill. You're creating confusion in the relationship. Because masculinity isn't about dominance. It's about direction. Okay, John Eldredge said that. A woman doesn't want to have to take over. Right? She wants to feel your strength. She wants to rest in your leadership, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, all these different ways. But if she senses that you are emotionally checked out, she'll step in, and both of you will start resenting it. So I want to flip this popular phrase that I've come to hate, which is happy wife, happy life. Let's flip this on its head, and I state it: happy life, happy wife. You see, because when you lead well and with purpose, your wife can trust your direction and relax into her feminine energy again. Hey, brother, if you are listening to this show, you've most likely built a successful career. You handle pressure, you lead teams, and you get results. But when was the last time you really connected with your wife beyond the calendar, the kids, and the to-do list? Well, if that sounds like you, I have a free gift for you today called the Connection Code, which are 50 questions to break the silence, spark the fun, and bring the fire back. These questions are going to help you learn what she truly desires from you, to break out of the routine and to rediscover fun, and to spark deeper passion and connection without forcing awkward conversations. Listen, most men assume their wives feel loved, but the best husbands ask great questions and keep the connection alive. So if your date nights feel more like board meetings, and if you've gone from soulmates to roommates, and I want you to download this connection code for free and start the kind of conversations that bring you closer tonight. You can grab your copy at dadnationcode.com/code or hit the link in the show notes below. All right, let's get back into it. All right, the second step here is to understand why she loses respect and desire, right? So we're going to go a little bit deeper. You see, respect doesn't disappear in a single fight. Desire doesn't die because of one disagreement. It happens slowly, one passive moment at a time. Like when you avoid hard conversations, when you say whatever you want instead of speaking clearly, when you show up like a roommate, not a partner. You see, she doesn't want to be your mother. She doesn't want to carry the emotional weight alone. She's exhausted, not just physically, but relationally. And here's what most men miss. When respect fades, desire follows close behind. According to a study done by the Institute of Family Studies, 74% of women who cheat say they felt emotionally neglected and disconnected from their husbands. Now that stat should hit you like a punch in the gut because it tells the truth. She didn't need you to be perfect, okay? She didn't need you to have a six-pack or a seven-figure income. Here's what she needed. She needs a man who shows up, a man who leads with integrity and consistency, a man who isn't afraid of her emotions and doesn't run from conflict. Because when you disappear emotionally, she starts to feel alone, even when you're in the same room. In fact, especially when you're in the same room. So when you won't decide, she starts to resent that she has to. And as long as she's stuck in mom mode, she's no longer in lover mode or wife mode or bride mode, whatever you want to call it. I want you to hear me say this today. Desire dies in a relationship when your wife feels like she has to parent the man that she's supposed to be attracted to. Now, this isn't about being macho. This is about being present, a protector, a pursuer, a man with a backbone and a strong heart. Now, the big question is, how do we make that shift? How do we get that back? How do we shift from being a child to a champion? You know what I mean? How do we shift from feeling like your wife is your mom to feeling like she's your bride again? Right? How do you move from being the passive husband that she tolerates to the masculine leader she respects, trusts, and desires again? Well, you need to reclaim your masculine identity. Now, don't get this twisted. I'm not talking about becoming controlling or aggressive. I want you to hear me say that. I want to state today that true masculinity is calm, is clear, and is confident. And it often looks like this: initiating instead of avoiding, deciding instead of deferring, taking ownership instead of blaming, creating emotional safety without needing constant reassurance. You see, it's emotional maturity. It's spiritual leadership. It's modeling. It's being the steady presence your family can count on even when life feels chaotic. You see, respect isn't something you yell for. It's something you earn through how you lead. And Dr. Tony Evans said, a man's job is to lead his home in such a way that his wife and children are glad to follow. So let that sink in. Relationship or leadership isn't just about direction, it's delight. It's when your presence brings peace into your home. Not power struggles, not eggshells, but trust and joy. And when that polarity is restored, everything changes. The whole marriage changes. A study published in the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that couples with a clear masculine-feminine polarity reported 68% higher levels of sexual satisfaction and desire. So yes, this is about your marriage. Yes, it's about sex. Yes, it's about connection. It's about passion. But deeper than that, it's about leading your family like a man who knows who he is. So in saying all this, like I started off this episode, I have been this guy. Let me be clear, in every situation. And I've learned a lot of these lessons the hard way, okay? I've had to have mentors confront me and ask me the uncomfortable questions. I've had to study, hire therapists, you name it. But I've learned a lot through that process. And that's why I'm here today, to take what I've learned and share it with you so that you can collapse the amount of time it takes you to learn this lesson so that you don't have to make as many painful mistakes as I have made. Does that make sense? So here are some reflection questions I want you to consider as we start to wrap up this short but powerful episode. Number one, have you handed over the leadership of your home because it was easier to avoid conflict? Number two, have you slipped into passivity and lost the spark as a result? Number three, are you leading with confidence or are you just coasting? And it might be worth having this conversation with your partner today because, listen, your wife wants to follow a man who knows where he's going. It's hard to follow someone who doesn't know where they're going, who has no vision. Otherwise, it's the blind leading the blind, right? So someone's got to step in. And in most situations, I find that the wife is stepping in and stepping into a masculine role that she was not designed for. It feels unnatural. This is why this decay happens. You see, a man who protects, pursues, and provides, not just materially, but emotionally, spiritually, in all those different ways, you don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to posture. You just need to lead with clarity, with courage, and consistency. And if you do, she won't just respect you again. She'll desire you again. Brother, if you're listening to this and it's striking a chord, if there's a fire in your gut as we're talking, this is the work we do inside the Dad Nation Coalition, helping high-performing men become high-impact husbands and fathers. So if this message hit you hard, share it with another man who needs it. Don't keep this to yourself. As the scripture says, iron sharpens iron. And if you're listening to this and you're ready to walk this journey, not alone, but with brothers who will challenge you, who will equip you, and who will walk alongside you. Join us. The Dad Nation is calling men up every single day. So that's it for me today. Listen, I hope this has resonated with you. It's a quick thought that I've been sharing with my clients, and I hope will serve you powerfully. So until next time, lead with strength, love with depth, and show up like your family's future depends on it, because it does. All right, I'm in your corner. I'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning into the Dad Nation podcast today. Listen, if today's conversation challenged you, if it encouraged you or helped you level up in any area of your life, would you do me a favor? Take 60 seconds to rate and review the show on whatever platform you're listening on. This helps us reach more men who need to hear this message. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Dad Nation YouTube channel, where you're going to find full episodes, clips, and exclusive content designed to help you win at home just like you do at work. All right, remember, your family does not need perfection. They need your presence. Your leadership matters. So keep showing up, keep leveling up, and never forget, when the dad gets better, the whole family wins. We'll see you next time.